Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I created this look because I was just in a purple mood and it's also my favorite color. So I decided to go ahead and play around with a few shades of purple. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell so you will get all the notifications when I drop a new video. So if you want to see how I created this look, stay tuned.
Open up with just one touch. Open up with just one touch. Open up with just one touch. Open up, open up, open up with just one touch. Open up with just one touch. Open up with just one touch. Open up, open up.
So I'm going to be starting off with this dark purple from my James Charles Artistry palette from Morphe. And I'm going to use a fluffy brush and use circular motions in my crease. And I'm gonna keep doing that until I get it as dark as I want it to be. And of course I'm gonna do that on both eyes. Next I'm going in with the transition color, which is gonna be this lighter purple here. And I'm going to use another fluffy brush. This one is more flat and wide. And I'm going to use the same circular motions to blend in that color with the color I used on my crease. Now I'm going to take another fluffy brush, which is much fluffier than my others, and I'm going to continue to blend in those two colors so I won't have any harsh lines. I want this to look as soft as possible before I go into my cut crease. Now I'm ready for my cut crease. So I'm going to be using a brush. It's much smaller and it's flat. You want to use a flat brush for your cut crease so it can be nice and smooth and clean. And I am using a tapping motion while I do this so it can be as sharp as possible. And I do tend to like use a sliding or gliding motion towards my lashes. That's because that's where my eyeshadow is gonna go. But up towards my crease, the crease of my eye, I do use a tapping motion so it can be sharp, nice and neat. Now I'm ready for the colors on my crease. I'm going to use a very light white gold type color. I'm going to use that in the inner corner of my eyes towards the tear duct area. I like to keep that part of my eyes very, very light. It just creates, in my opinion, it creates more dimension to the eyeshadow because as I move towards the outer parts of my eye, I do use a darker color or darker colors. And as you can see here, the second color that I am using is a lighter purple than I used for the color in my crease. So I'm just gonna blend that in with the white gold. And of course I'm gonna do that on both eyes. And after this color for the corner, I'm gonna use a dark brown. I could have used black, but I think sometimes black is a bit messy and it falls down under your eye, then your eyes be all black, looking like a raccoon. So I just chose to use dark brown for this one. So as I did with my other colors, I'm just going to blend these together. I went ahead and put my lashes on off camera. So next I'm moving on to primer. I'm going to be using NYX HD Studio Photogenic Primer Base. And I basically just squirt a little bit of it in my hands or on my fingertips. And I just do a few taps on my face because a little bit of this goes a long way. And for my foundation, I am using Juvia's I Am Magic Foundation. I do use a sponge as of now, and I spray it with the spray bottle at least 2 to 3 times, but mostly 3. And I tap in my foundation, very, very light taps. I'm careful not to press too hard because I don't want any harsh lines and no uneven tones. So lightly tap. To set my foundation, I'm going to be using NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Powder Foundation, and I'm going to be using a powder brush from the e.l.f. brush collection. It is a fluffy brush, but it is flat on top. It's like flat and a little firm. It really does the trick as far as making sure the foundation goes on real smooth and even. Now I'm going to go ahead and use some concealer from MAC and Tarte. And I'm going to start off with the MAC concealer because it is about a shade darker than the Tarte concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting that underneath my eyes and make a strip on my nose, a couple of marks on my forehead and my chin. And right after the MAC, I go ahead and go on top with the Tarte, and I am layering the Tarte a bit closer to my eye because that is where I want it to be a bit lighter at. And once I do that, I am going to go ahead and blend these colors together with a sponge. And I'm going to go ahead and wet it just like I did with my foundation. And I'm going to be using the same tapping motions as I did with my foundation. I like to immediately set my concealer. And I'm going to be using Maybelline Fit Me in 235 Pure Beige. So I'm going to use a fluffy brush, and I'm going to use tapping motions as well to tap that powder into my concealer. I don't want to break it up or cause any creasing, so I am being careful in using light taps. And I'm going to be using light taps as well with this Morphe setting powder. I went ahead and went in right after I used the Maybelline Fit Me because I want everything to set in place really good. And I did not wet my sponge before I did the baking powder because it was still pretty damp. So I didn't want that too wet. And I don't let it sit and bake. I feel like it's already baked enough. So I go ahead and just get rid of the excess powder with a fluffy brush. And I also use setting spray to set in what I've already done, especially after I do concealer. For contour, I am using NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Foundation, but in a much darker color. It is in the shade of Cocoa. So I use a tapping motion along my cheekbones and my forehead. And I'm also going to go alongside my nose. For blush, I'm going to be using my Juvia's Place Lister Heron Blush Volume 2, and I'm going to be using the dark purple shade for my first layer. That is in the shade of Beat. And I'm also using a tapping motion for my blush as well. And I'm going to go on top of that shade with the color Tau. I hope I'm saying that right. T-A-U, Tau. It's a pinkish orange color. A pink orange color. I really like it. So I went ahead and put that on top of the dark purple color. And after that, I went ahead and did my eyeliner. I don't like to touch my eyes or my under eyes. It makes me nervous. So I just do what I gotta do and get it in there with the pencil, and it normally turns out pretty good for me. So after I do the eyeliner, I do go in with a darker purple that I use for the crease in my eyeshadow. So I'm going to use a flat, wide brush so I can really get in there and get the color really good on my under eyes. I'm going to be using Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit for my highlight. And I'm going to be using the Gold is of the Gold color in there. And I did spray my brush once or twice, probably once for this. And I use a tapping motion for this as well to apply my highlight. Everywhere that I apply concealer is basically where I'm going to apply my highlight. For the bridge of my nose, I am going to be using a brush. It's fluffy, but it is a thinner fluffy brush, if that makes sense. I don't want the highlight to be overpowering on my forehead and my nose and my chin, so I use a smaller, fluffier brush for those areas. And for my lip liner, I am using a pencil I just got from the beauty supply. It's in the shade of dark brown. And I just line my lips the way I want them. I'm gonna go ahead and use some setting spray again to set what I've done so far and fan it a little bit. And I did do my lip color off camera. I did use the Darling Pop brand. It is a independent black owned brand. I will go ahead and leave the link in the description box below. These colors are, or this color is so popping, y'all. Darling Pop is right, because this color pop every time I use it. I absolutely love it. She has so many shades in this line. I can't wait to try more. But I definitely wanted to try this one first because it's my favorite color, and then I thought it was really, really cute and vibrant. That is it, you guys. That is the look. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate your support. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification. And also like, comment, and share. If you really like this look, y'all, please continue to be safe out there. Please be smart. Continue to wear your mask and practice social distancing. And just keep praying. I'll see you guys on the next video.